What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're not doing anything super intense. I'm just working on a little bit of a form change. I have a couple of easy to throw discs. I've got the Cloudstone and the Dune, and then I have the Rainstone and the Grim X because they're super gummy and it rained yesterday. Actually overnight. Something I had a problem with kind of at the beginning of COVID, which is when I really started to work on my form a lot more, was I wasn't able to get my hips engaged as much as I needed to. So I made a form change, which I then told myself I was going to fix it later. And now, unfortunately, is the later, because it worked fine as long as I was able to have the fast feet and be able to use my agility and my quickness to pump my hips into it. But after a severe head injury and just not physically being able to move that fast, I'm having to rework my form, and it's actually working out to be better and more clear, concise, and powerful than it ever was before. So I'll show you a couple of things here and link in some clips that I took yesterday when I was over at Another Round Asheville using their tech disc there. So hopefully you'll see some good stuff that might help you in your form. So the change that I made when I couldn't get my hips into it, I was running up pretty much straight in line with my target. So as I was running up, I couldn't really turn my hips enough. So what I did to counteract that was just start further over on the T-pad, and then as I ran up, I would then on my last step across the T-pad, and it would turn my hips. The problem is when you're this far over, your hips are so turned that it's really hard to push yourself back straight. So when I was younger and more fit and active, it was easier to do that. Now that I'm a little bit older and I don't move quite as fast, I'm having to figure things out now and actually use my form the way it was designed to be used. So now I'm running up much more straight in line, but because I've had so many years of twisting and turning my hips, I'm able to shift my hips into it much more, which allows me to not have to throw my arm out every time I'm throwing, and allow me to use my body weight to throw the disc instead of my arm. Because I've been playing for 18 years and my arm has been throwing for 18 years and not my body, and my arm's starting to feel it. So I'm gonna throw some nice soft warm-up shots, and we'll move around different places. We're just focusing on form and footwork here. My arm threw at about 10-15% power there. It still comes out fast. It's so easy if you just, your muscle memory at this point of throwing the disc that many times, your muscle memory is going to get that pop and spin. Now you have to put the power into it, and that's what I'm trying to do now, put my hips and power into it. Welcome to my day of field work. So as I keep practicing, I am going to keep constantly and mentally thinking about where I'm going in my throw. But one of the other things that was really crushing my form was as I was running up, I took that last step this way, I also took it that way. Because when I was first learning how to throw, I was first starting out in Ultimate Frisbee, where you need to be side to side a lot. So the wider your stance is, you should actually be a little bit wider than your upper body is, or than your shoulder width, if you want to be able to move side to side really quickly. So that's where I was going in my brain. I was like, moving side to side, moving that way. I want to have the big step, get all my movement going that way. The problem is, as you get older, your joints don't move the same, your joints don't feel the same, and if I try to jump this far now, there is much less chance of me springing back up, just because my left quad, my left calf muscle is not as strong as it used to be. So now I'm trying to take a little bit shorter steps towards the end of my run up, so that I'm not overstriding and stopping my motion in my front foot on the ground instead of into the disc in the air. Those two throws had so much speed coming out of my hand, I basically didn't throw them. My arm already knows how to throw. All I told my body was, push through. Push through with that hip, push through with that back leg, and your arm will throw the disc. And that is what I'm trying to do right now.
Time lapses. Just to support him. I heard what were you saying? Yeah. So this sellers outside of is like teal. You get guaranteed 3 different brands. Yeah. You know, if there's not something, one of those brand new things in there, if you were more afraid. But yeah, those are fun. We've done.
All right, a couple more warm-up throws with these two, and then I'm gonna actually think about applying power, and we'll see what that does. The main one difference that I'm gonna be changing, that I'm gonna be thinking about through every tournament round this year, is where am I starting my run up on the tee pad and where am I ending my run up on the tee pad? Because if I start on that corner and I end at this corner, I'm gonna have the same problem I was having before. So I have to mentally tell myself, you can't start in the other corner, start in the middle of the tee pad, and then run up to the corner, because my brain says step into the corner. So I don't even have to think about if I just start closer to the corner, theoretically speaking, right? See how it plays out here. I had to use much more arm, and it ended up rolling it a little bit, is that the dune likes to be thrown with spin, not power. Same thing with the spore. If you throw it with too much power, it will burn over. So it likes to be thrown with a lot of spin. Using these as training tools is fantastic for teaching you how to put more spin and less power. That one I did hook out on my finger. It's grabbed a little bit hard because it was a little wet. I should have used the towel. But now we're going to open up a little bit with a little bit further flying discs and see what happens. Got the nose angle wrong on the second one, but I don't know if you could tell from when I threw the dune to those last two drives, there was a lot more oomph directly imparted into the disc and not as much into all of the joints in my right arm. Any of those of you who may not know, I have separated my right AC joint playing Ultimate Frisbee, so I'm a little bit more timid about certain things, so I like to try to make sure that I have the power and the right amount of torque on the joints. And if you say, just switch to a lefty throw, I've separated this one twice and I broke this collarbone. So I'm sticking with the right arm. Yes, I do actually practice field work on the actual course and on the actual tee pads. You can come at me in the comments if you want. The reason I do it is because I have completely different thoughts when I'm throwing on the course than when I do in an open field. In an open field, it's just try to throw it as hard as you can, try to throw it as far as you can, try to put it there, try to put it here. Instead of, on the course, I'm able to visualize the lines that are there and the lines that my disc needs to travel on, so I'm able to hit those lines. Anyways, more rambling from me. What I was gonna say when I got up here is, you've heard me say so many times in the most recent videos that whenever I throw on hyzer, I grip lock my shots. They all come out wide right, high right, nose up. And that's not good. That's not what you want if you want to be able to hit really clean, precise lines. And the reason that was happening for me was because I wasn't able to get my hips around and through. So my hit wasn't able to be as consistent because I was throwing it all with my arm. And now that I know that, now that I'm changing this, once we get this dialed in, that should hopefully help me dial in that exact clean release point, even on hyzer. Throw them off of here from 8. Yeah, I almost stepped over to the right of the tee pad, and then I remembered I'm starting in the middle of the tee pad. See, when you throw a dune properly, and it's not hammering into it, it's letting your throw just happen in the spin, imparting into the disc, it flies so smoothly. When you power it up, throwing it into a headwind, you're trying to do what the dune wasn't designed to do, which is to go smoothly straight. It's not going to work out for you so well. Oh, I really, really like the Spore. I don't know if it's going in my bag, but it's definitely staying in my car for when I need to play around with this, with a fun disc. It's so far. Oh. That one kind of slipped a little bit more than I was expecting and just came straight into my shoulder. That was it. That was the one. I figure out how to do that.
Well, hello again.
Hi. I think running more gonna hurt my arm. I figure I'm gonna turn my field work days into more of kind of like vlog days instead of go out and film video and just kind of talk to the camera. Just so that you kind of know more about me and what I'm doing to produce this content. And what I'll say first of all is my arms are very sore from throwing so much. Last weekend on Friday, I filmed 7 videos in one day. And yesterday, which was the next Thursday, I filmed basically 9.5 videos in one day. So carrying this camera, carrying the tripod, throwing all those throws, it puts a toll on your body, and I'm feeling that toll. So I'm trying to help you guys if you're feeling any sort of way about disc golf and you're like, it feels weird, it stresses. I'm telling you that there is ways to get around that and actually to improve your throw and make it better. So what was 9 videos yesterday, it was 133 video clips, and maybe half of those were one shot each. Most of those were multiple throws. So just kind of put that into perspective. If you play one round of par 3 golf and you shoot even par, you're shooting a 54. I essentially played 3 or 4 rounds of par 3 golf just in throws alone yesterday. So I am taking today, throw a little bit less, try to recover, be ready to hit it harder. I guess what I'm trying to say through all of this video is, just because disc golf is a little painful at times, just because it might hurt you, doesn't mean you can't come back and throw further and be better than you were before. There are always ways to improve upon yourself, so don't worry about what everyone else is telling you your game is. You play your game, and you play your game very well. What do you want? A little bit more power? Let's put a little bit of power into the last throw. Way too high. I don't think I really said when I was at another round, but most of my backhand throws were averaging in the upper 50s, cresting 60 every once in a while, and my forehand throws were averaging about 57 or 58, cresting to like 63 every once in a while. The rotational spin is much more like 11 or 12 on my backhand and only like 700 or 800 on a forehand. So even though I might be able to throw it a little bit faster forehand, I'm not able to go as far because I can't impart as much spin. But I'm still getting pretty similar distances both ways. .60-mile-an-hour air bounce forehand. Stupid. If you guys enjoy content like this, comment down below. Please tell me what your favorite type of content is if you made it this far. Otherwise, please subscribe. It'll help you out. You'll get the video notifications whenever they release, and you'll be entered into all the giveaways. Until next time, guys, see you out on the course. Too much turn.